Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Free Play. Today we're playing a game called Depression Quest. I've read through this paragraph. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what they said, and I totally agree. Even though I haven't played, I think this is appropriate. If you're suffering from depression, I wouldn't suggest watching it, especially if you're in a really dark place. And if you're suicidal, they even say visit the suicide prevention hotline, talk to someone. This game is supposed to really depict depression. If you are suffering from depression or know anything about depression, this game could hit you in a tough spot. If you do watch it and you have depression, I'd love to hear what you feel about it. I have anxiety, but I don't have a depression, so I'm not gonna know if this game is really true to what it is. They say it is. I'm gonna agree with that. Okay. So the goal of their game is to illustrate clearly what depression is and maybe be understood by people without depression. So it's a game for people like me. I'm gonna read this quote and then we'll start. It's an emotional character. Is probably mostly undescribable except as sort of double bind in which all of alternatives we associate with human agency, sitting or standing, doing, resting, speaking, keeping silent, living or dying, not just unpleasant but literally horrible. David Foster Wallace. Okay. Okay. Audio is part of the experience, so please keep your volume up. It's kind of loud. Let's select the controls. Scroll tab, shift tab is for use option. Enter. Backspace. Shift backspace. Let's go ahead and plug in a controller. I have one. I didn't know this had a controller option, or I would have set this up beforehand. Come on. It's really not mine. This is Cracker's. I've hijacked it and I've kept it in my room for months now. I really need to just get my own. It's time. Ah, there we go. Confirm. Back advance. Next option. Previous option. I can do that. Okay. And begin. It's early on a Monday morning. You are a mid-20s human being. You have a significant other, Alex, who you are rather fond of, that you've been seeing exclusively for the past few months. The rest of your social circle consists of varieties of friends and acquaintances, some of whom you met at your day job, which is a little boring but pays the rent. You'd like to be doing more with your life, as would your parents, but you're still in the process of figuring out what that means and how to go about it. You're also dealing with the motivation issues that sometimes make dealing with things difficult. You feel like you're probably your fault, and on bad days, you feel inwardly angry and drawn down on yourself for being lazy, but you're not quite sure how you can break out of it. How other people deal with these feelings. It seems very functional. So very functional. You spend a lot of nights fixating on thinking like this and something other than lose sleep. Oh, wrong button. Okay, so I guess I have to. You're one of the few people who know your parents never got divorced, but you do wonder if they still love each other sometimes. You're an older brother named Malcolm who's moved across the country with his wife to work at a high-paying job. Even every major holiday that you see him at, you feel a bit jealous. And like the lesser kid, desperate being generally happy when you see him, you feel like ashamed of these feelings. Your parents generally care about you and often involve inviting you back to your childhood home for dinner. Your mother thinks you never visit quite enough, but you get the impression they don't fully understand you. They want to see you succeed, but you don't know why you haven't gone further in life yet because you're so smart and talented. Anytime you've tried to talk to them about your motivation issues, they tell you the solution is simply work harder or want it more. Your father is generally more forgiving of your lack of career path, but your mother seems to think you're too smart to be in the position you're in. You know they love you, and they're not bad people, but you feel like a big disappointment sometimes. Whew, yeah, this already hit home. You met Alex, their mutual friend, a few months back. You two hit up pretty well. That first night, after the series of initial awkward dates, you finally became a couple, much to your surprise and excitement. Alex is 3 months younger than you are and is currently a student with a part-time job in broad social circle. She's also got a wide variety of interests, and oftentimes you worry that you might be too boring for her. she has been good at trying to reassure you that she's happy with you. It consists of lots of nights of watching Netflix when you're both got time off work, and she doesn't have classes with the occasional social outing that she tends to have to talk you into attending. She tries to be understanding when you're in one of your moods, but as she puts it through, you are starting to feel like she doesn't understand what it's like for you. And the source of your tension in your relationship, coupled with the reluctance to want to go to college parties, this feeds your worry of not being exciting enough for them. Social circle is made of a few close friends, some of which you've known from high school, and some of the jobs you've worked. You've also made various acquaintances through reluctantly going to social events with Alex, and keep in touch with a few family friends that you occasionally run into. You have also several online friends that you talk to regularly, but you feel less guarded with possibly due to communicating with the safety behind your keyboard. You also enjoy the low commitment friendships since they don't expect much of you other than to listen and share personal thoughts and experiences. Despite the low commitment, you feel fairly connected with these people. You tend to be more honest with them than people you interact with in real life on the day-to-day basis. You feel incredibly nervous trying to make new friends on your own, and you're very good at talking yourself out of going to unfamiliar places or large social engagements, regardless of how much you may actually want to attend. Meeting new people stresses you out to a high degree, and this is something that you wish you could work past. You admit you have a bad habit of flaking on social engagements, even with long-term friends, and you're puzzled as to why some days you just can't force yourself to go see these people with you really do care about. Those who have stuck around long enough to be close with you understand that this thing you do sometimes, and have seemed to more or less accept it, even though they chide you for it on occasion. Sorry, I think there's something on my contact. However, you've had friends in the past who gave up trying to make friendship with you because of the trait, taking your social anxieties as a personal slight, or eventually trying to get tired of tracking you down all the time. Don't feel guilty about this, but you're not going to try to change. And our day job. You have a day job, which is really, you feel like is really nothing special. You started out receiving minimum wage. You have stayed along long enough to support yourself. The work is dull and unrewarding, but most days you feel like anyone can do it. You have a hard time relating with most of your coworkers, so mostly you keep yourself and get your work done when you're there. There are two people you chat with, though you wouldn't consider yourself close with them. A lot of days lately, you have a really hard time getting out of bed, forcing yourself to go in. You're starting to wonder how long you can keep this up. You really like to find another job in your field of interest, but you feel like you are underqualified every time you look at online job postings. Sometimes you think about going back to school, but you're really unsure how to support yourself. Wonder if the degree would really help anyway. Okay. It's a really warm Wednesday evening. You spent the past several hours at work. The past week or so, you found your job motivating, mission flagging more than usual. You've been up in fog practically all day, simply going through the motions without realizing that you've been doing half the time. Yet time seems to be moving half the speed, so you're checked out. When your boss approaches you to tell you that it's dead and you go home early, barely registers. As you walk home, the streets hiss from the recent rainfall. You know that your significant other will be in class until late. Another couple hours at least. You briefly consider using this serendipitous solitude to catch up on the project you've been working on haphazardly for the past few months. As soon as you think about the work that awaits you at home, you can feel the panic creeping in from the back of the brain unbidden. All you can do is think about how incredibly far behind you are in the amount of work. It seems less insurmountable. By the time you arrive home and change out of your uncomfortable work clothes, the stress is weighing down you like a heavy, wet wool blanket. Your computer seems to be staring at you down from your desk. You want to sit down and work, but the mere thought of trying to work sends you stress levels flying. More than anything, you feel suddenly absolutely exhausted, and you feel strong desire to simply hide in bed. Do you order some food, grab a drink, and hunker down? I guess we can't do that. We don't really sit down at your desk and try to make yourself long. Turn on the TV, tell yourself you need a quick half hour to run for work. Crawl into bed. You're so stressed, overwhelmed, you want like some away. You are depressed. Interaction is exhausting you, and you're becoming more withdrawn. You're not currently seeing a therapist. You're not currently taking medication for your depression. Let's go with that one. Just half an hour of TV, you tell yourself, absently grasp the remote. You don't so much sit down on the couch and sink into it, and you realize turn on the TV and start going your usual channel routine. A few cycles of this, realize that you're really not doing much more than thumb calisthenics and absently killing time. You check the clock, see over 20 minutes have already passed since you sat down. As your self-imposed time limit creeps near, you become even more anxious. You stand up, walk to the fridge, tell yourself, I'll just make a quick sandwich, and get to work after that. Can't be productive on an empty stomach, right? As you eat, you start pacing around your apartment, heading past to measure in the process. You stop in the doorway, physically unable to cross the threshold. Another waves of exhaustion start racking you, and you feel tired and panicked. You close your door and head back down to the couch. It's early yet, you tell yourself, as long as I get to work in an hour, I'll have plenty of time to be productive. Flip channels and let the CSI and Jeopardy reruns wash over you. You sink deeper into the couch, feeling at once encroached upon and shielded by the being quite literally swallowed by it. As the second hour draws nearer, sure enough, you find yourself getting anxious and jittery. You repeat the fridge pace couch process a couple more times before you look at the clock, realize that several hours have passed, and not surprisingly, you've managed to get no work done. You crawl into bed, unaware of the fact that you have work in the morning and that any opportunity you had to catch up on your own creative endeavors today was squandered. Feeling disgusted with yourself, but when Alex calls to talk to you on her way home from class, you simply say it's a rough day at work. You're trying to rest up for your shift tomorrow. She says she understands and wishes you good night, though you can't help but notice that she sounds slightly disappointed. Ironically, the stress of potentially upsetting your partner compounds the stress of not having gotten anything done the evening, the stress of having to go into work tomorrow. The buzzing of anxiety in your brain melts together with your body's other physical exhaustion, and it gives a semi-pagonic, anxious funk. Too tired to work, but too anxious to fall asleep for several hours. You're very depressed, you spend a large amount of time sleeping, hating yourself, having very little energy and revision, feeling not seeing the therapist, and you're not taking any medication. It's a mild afternoon, Friday afternoon. Alex calls you from one of her classes telling you that you have a really awesome birthday party tonight at her apartment. One of her roommates is throwing. You've hung out with his roommate a few times with Alex, and you get along well enough, but aren't particularly close. You don't have work in the morning and anything else to do tonight. You're kind of feeling run down, but you have been fatigued most of the time lately. You mentioned that you're feeling ill, but you're not sure how to explain those feelings to someone else, and you say that you aren't sure if you can make it tonight. There's silence over your phone, but you can hear the sound of your partner's face fall. She tries to convince you anyway. You haven't seen her this week, and sounds pretty insistent that you come over. She drops suggestively worded hints that you can stay over with them tonight after the party. What will you do? We're gonna go. Even though you're not feeling social, you know it's friend to Alex, and you like to see her. Seeing her makes you feel better sometimes, and you hope that this is the case tonight, even if it does mean dealing with your unusual social anxiety. The time to leave rolls around. You grab your overnight bag. Alex's apartment is a short walk away, and there are already people hanging out on the porch. You feel your chest tighten as you approach try to steal your nerves. You quickly find your partner chatting away with the birthday girl, and Alex immediately lightens up when she sees you. I'm so happy you came. I'm not sure you're going to make it. The young man taps her on the shoulder, turns back to apologize, and lets you know that they have to do something for the party. Alex hands you a beer, and plants a kiss on your cheek before going off to deal with what it came up. You look around and you don't see anyone you recognize. After Alex walks away, you're not quite sure what to do yourself. Scanning the party, familiar faces, feels nothing. You're not sure where your girlfriend or the birthday girl got off to. You look at the beer in your hand, and you know you care a lot less about everything in general when tipsy. You know you should avoid getting drunk and possibly emotional. Quickly down the beer, hoping it will loosen you up a little. You take a few more as quickly as your stomach lets you handle the carbonation comfortably and wait for the effect. By the time it does, Alex is already turned and introducing you to people. However, all that drinking accomplishes making you more tired and unfocused, and you stick to your girlfriend the rest of the night, staying fairly quiet in a group conversations. Words. Later that night, the two of you are both tipsy and dozing off. Alex calls up to you and lightly slurs, I'm really glad you turned up tonight. To be honest, I didn't think you'd show. It's really cool you did. Really. You know she meant it lovingly. We're not quite sure how you feel about the statement. It's a little afternoon on a muggy Saturday. Your mother has come for a surprise visit, claiming loudly that she doesn't see you enough to invite yourself over. As you converse, she walks around the place, and you get the distinct impression that you're being inspected. So what's going on with you lately? She asks, abruptly. Taken aback by this left fielder. You tell her that you're not sure what she means. She repeats the question, saying that you haven't seen like yourself lately. She gestures to the dirty dish spot in the sink. That you haven't called or visited in a while. Your reluctance only seems spur on her. No, I'm not sure what that means. Or how do you say that word? She presses you, asking if you have problems or work or with Alex. You're beginning to feel increasingly battered by your sudden and well-meaning, overwhelming situation. Under her questions, increasingly uncomfortable, you want to explain to her that how you've been feeling. The truth is, you're not really sure. Nothing horrific has happened at work or in your significant other or friends or anything like that. All the same, but you can't deny lately that you feel drained, even though you're not really here. You wish you could tell your mother these things, but she hasn't been approachable about negative emotions in the past. She seems kind of like the person who holds the opinion that the solution to any problem is simply try harder and maintain a positive attitude. A stance that has reared its head in the past conversations that you've been to explore the subject with her. You know she's unlikely to be understanding, but you feel energy on you when you imagine happen if you manage to put everything out. You attempt to tell your mother that you're feeling, despite initial misgivings that you have about doing so. Finding the right words, you're feeling trying to untangle Christmas lights, searching for dead bulb in the colored mess. She watches you intently and audibly sighs before you can clear to anything. Unfortunately, she reacts predictably. And I just like I won't teach you anywhere. You need to work harder to at getting what you want instead of sitting around feeling sad about it. Nothing good will happen unless you make it happen. Feeling very spiteful when she tells you this. And try to explain that it's not a matter of that, but you can tell that you're not getting anywhere. The frustration chokes the words in your throat, and you give up on trying to push the subject further. You know she's giving you advice that makes sense to her and generally wants the best for you. However, she doesn't understand that it's as simple as somehow deciding to be positive or work harder. These things aren't valuable options because of these feelings. You accept your defeat in the conversation drifts to other subjects. She leaves after chiding you to call her more and take better care of yourself. You sigh heavily as you close the door behind her and spend the next few hours laying in bed staring at the ceiling. A lazy Sunday morning. You're idly clicking around online when your phone rings. Sam, a coworker that you're friendly with, asks how you are and makes hurried small talk with you. You typically only ever talk to him on the phone when one of you needs a shift covered, so it's slightly awkward. You're in anticipation for ask you to come in short notice, and you veers the conversation in a completely different direction. How do you feel about cats? Mine had kittens 2 weeks ago, and I'm awfully hard time finding a home for the last one of the litter. You don't have any pets, right? It takes you a moment to process new information. You're caught off guard, so he begins to earnestly try to sell you the idea of taking the last kitten off his hands. It's not something that you specifically considered. It seems fairly insistent. It takes you She's a real sweetheart, really loves people. She's got all her shots already taken care of, and the vet says she's healthy as a horse. You can buy a replace tonight if you're interested. You look around your apartment and try to picture a cat in it as she continues to tell you about how cute she is. You tell him that this is kind of sudden. You don't have anything set up for Kenny. Oh, don't worry about that. I can bring over a litter box and food and all that since you'd really be helping me out of a fix. At least I could do. I don't want to just put her in a shelter. You can't help but feel like you're being guilt-tripped, but you decided to give it some serious consideration. It does feel awfully lonely around your apartment. It might feel less empty with a cat around. However, since you've been feeling so down, it might be good to take on a responsibility with a cat, even if they're low maintenance. Take the cat, knowing full well you can decline, even though you become a cat owner. You know what? Let's take the cat. Accept the offer of kitten and hang up shortly after making arrangements for when your coworker can drop her off tonight. After hanging up, you worry about the suddenly taking on responsibility that you can't handle. You hope they can make a small animal suffer for it. You're not entirely sure what to expect, and you spend the rest of researching cat care online, trying to think of a name. Evening rolls around, you hear a knock on the door, startling you out of reading Wikipedia entirely too hard. Take possession of a small, terrified black and white kitten in a carrier, along with everything that needs to start taking care of her. Take her into your bedroom, close the door, open the door. The carrier excitedly. She cowers in the back of it, and you back off, feeling slightly defeated. You remember that when you researched introducing a kitten to a new home. Leave her alone to mess around on your computer, hopefully checking over your shoulder every so often so you just come out yet. Tries in a carrier, periodically making sorrowful cat holes, long enough for you to start worrying if she already doesn't like you. By the time you go to bed, she's curled up at the foot of it, eyeing you nervously before falling asleep. Over the next few days, you gain your trust. She begins to affectionately follow you around, sleeping on you and hopping up on you anytime you sit down to do some work. It's late Friday afternoon, and quitting time is right on the calendar. It's a bright, clear day, and a way to still temperate evening. You can hear your coworkers all around you anxiously make plans for the evening and weekends, but you're looking forward to going home and resting on what's turned out to be a very long and taxing work week. Before ending your shift, you get a call from Alex. It seems a group of your mutual friends are heading out to a nearby pub for dinner, thanks to celebrate the end of the week. I wanted to know if you'd like to come along. Generally, tell her you're emotionally exhausted from the work week and socializing that would take too much out of you today. You encourage her to go and have a good time, since you know it's been a while since she's gone with her friends, but the effort feels futile since you know she isn't going to go without you. A couple hours later, the two of you find yourselves in fair position on the couch watching comedy shows on Netflix, a box of pizza open on the coffee table in front of you. As you look across the couch at her, you start to feel anxious. You feel bad about effectively forcing the two of you to stay in tonight. Again, while you have always appreciated of your partner's efforts to take your feelings into account, make sure that you are socially comfortable. You sincerely worry if you're holding her back from enjoying a fulfilling relationship. While she does seem to enjoy spending time with you, as the two of you sit comfortable, almost contented silence watching old shows you've seen 2 or 3 times before, your ever-increasing fear that your relationship becoming one-sided weighs more and more heavily on you, even you feel then ever feel like a burden or a reward to her. It's virtually impossible for you to see the value of your possibly offered her return. Worst of all, is this nagging fear has made you feel more self-conscious than ever, withdrawing ever inwards, and you've started to pull away from even Alex. You look over at Alex, who hasn't noticed you watching her yet, and you try to parse the expression from her face. You worry it's one of the sheer boredom and bare tolerance. You wonder if she's thinking of all the fun things she could have been doing tonight if she wasn't trapped on this couch with you, or in the same 3 takeout places that you always order from. Sense of disappointing her creeps over you, and you picture what the night would have been. You accept the invitation she made earlier. I know this is pretty boring Friday night for you. Are you really happy being with me? Being like this? She turns, looks at you, wrinkle forward. Why do you ask me that so often? You feel her body stiffen away from you just a little. I mean, you start, but you're unable to try and think of how to answer. Alex sighs. Look, if that were the case, I'd let you know. I don't think you're boring. You're more of a homebody than I am. I'm learning how to deal with that. Deal with it? You think, repeating in your mind? Does she see you as a problem to be dealt with? You try to pick her reply apart in your mind, and all the conclusions lead to your previous story, holding her back. You begin thinking that the phrase was chosen without too much deliberation, despite her attempts at reassuring you. The slip of the tongue revealed her true feelings. As you picture how much fun she would have having tonight if she only accepted her invitation and managed somehow to get over reservations and anxieties, despite not knowing how you to go about that, she calls back up to you. Thanks for putting up with me, you say, staring at the TV, actually watching it. She sighs in response. Okay, this is where I'm going to stop. This is sad. And we're going to go ahead and look at the Steam page for it. Oh god. There we go. Got mixed reviews. I'm feeling like this is a good atmospheric story game, but it's not really a game, okay? So I'm gonna give it kind of a thumbs down. Not all the way thumbs down. I think it's really interesting. Yeah, like I said before, this is when I say see play game, I do not go down anymore. You know, I saw this, but I didn't think it was all gonna be reading. It said interactive. So, according to people, this is a terrible depiction of depression. It might be if you guys are depressed and you watched it. And then tell me about it. I don't know. I don't know if I'd suggest playing it though. That's it for this free play. Hopefully, you know, next week I will definitely try to choose something that's a little more cheery than this. It didn't seem like that's what it was gonna be when I clicked on it, but you know, I chose it and we played it, and yeah, I had to suffer through it, and so did you guys. Thanks for watching, guys.